I'm Carolee Garrison, singer-songwriter, self-care coach for burnt-out moms, and your host of the Seeking Sunshine podcast, where we find the positive in the trials of life.
There are times when life just brings you down, 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 down to the ground. And it's hard when you can't see the light, 'cause things don't look so bright. So now it's time to reframe and retrain your brain. It's time to look for the good. You know that you should. Why don't you join me? 'Cause I'm seeking sunshine. I'm seeking sunshine. I'm seeking sunshine. Oh, oh, oh. I'm seeking sunshine. I'm seeking sunshine. I'm seeking sunshine. I'm seeking sunshine.
I'm so excited to share this new version of my single Seeking Sunshine with you in my upcoming album. I don't have a release date yet, but stay tuned, it's coming up. Are you looking for ways to support my podcast? If so, then please like it, subscribe it, and leave it a review. Did you know that if you leave a review, it helps my podcast get shown to more people? I would so appreciate it if you could leave some words in the review box and let people know. Share this with your friends and family and just tell them about the episodes that you really like and some of the takeaways that you've personally received and that have helped you out. Do you have a story to share? I would love to interview you for my podcast. I want to hear all about you and what you've been through and how you've been able to seek sunshine in your journey. Please reach out to me. You can send me a message in DMs on social media, or you can even send me an email at caroleegarrison@gmail.com. I would love to talk to you. Hey guys, welcome back again to another special episode of the Seeking Sunshine podcast. Today we have day 5 of the Dare to Self-Care from Burnout to Bliss self-care workshop. It was recorded live and it is another amazing workshop that will give you tons of information and a lot of really, really great ways to increase your self-care. The other thing I want to say before we jump into that workshop is I want to make sure that you know that the doors are officially open to my one-on-one 90-day coaching program that will hold you by the hand as you go from burnout to bliss, as you take all of the overwhelm and stress and out of control that you are feeling in your life, all of that chaos, and I help you and guide you, and we come up with a plan, like a proven plan that will get you to the peace and the calm and the assurity that you are looking for, to help you learn how to care for yourself in a way that's actually going to work. So the doors are open to that. Send me a message anywhere on social media, on email, wherever you want, so that you can find out more information, because it's really a life-changing opportunity for me to deep dive into your personal issues that you have going on that you just need help with. I am here to help you with that. So that is what I wanted to say about that. And now we're going to jump into the workshop. Welcome again to day 5 of the Dare to Self-Care from Burnout to Bliss workshop. This has been amazing. If you've been here every day, I hope that you have seen what incredible content this has been and how really life-changing this information can be. I'm so just lit up by everything that I get to share with you guys. It's my heart and soul, and it just is everything, right? And so today is the same, right? Today is another topic that I am over the moon about. I'm so excited to share with you. Today we're talking about enduring in sunshine. So if you aren't quite caught up yet, I will go over the SHINE method. The S is for see your self-worth, which was day 1. Day 2 was the H, honor your humanity. Day 3 was I, increase your inner wholeness. Day 4 is N for nourish your soul. And here we are in day 5. I can't believe we're already here. Endure in sunshine. And I have to just shout out to my podcast for this, because this is so much of what I'm about. My podcast is called Seeking Sunshine. And by the way, you can find all of these workshops. Like, just, I put them up on my podcast if that's easier for you to listen. But Seeking Sunshine is all about gratitude. It's all about finding something to be thankful for, some little ray of sunshine, something beautiful in every circumstance. So today we're going to be talking about enduring in sunshine, which means like the long haul. How do we look back on our crazy roller coaster of a journey and see sunshine in it? How do we continue forward and keep that sunshine mindset, that gratitude, attitude, right, in our daily lives? So, if you did the homework yesterday, please tell me about what you thought about it. Nourish Your Souls. Again, we talked about it yesterday. It's one of my favorites. They're all my favorites. Like, these are all like really big parts of me that I'm so excited to share with you. And we're going to do a quick little meditation because I do have a lot that I really want to dive into today. I think that's everything. Yeah, I think that's all of our house rules. So if you are here, come tell me hi. I'd love to hear from you, but we have a lot to get through and it's already 10 after. So let's dive into this meditation. Please close your eyes and I'm just going to say this out loud. Yesterday's meditation was so hard for me and hopefully nobody really noticed, but it was really, really difficult for me to get through yesterday's meditation. And so I'm just going to throw this in really quick. Like, usually I can just sit here and it's quiet and I can get into it, right? But on Thursdays, my husband starts work at 11, so he was like leaving the house and getting himself ready to go while I was in the middle of my live, and then the dog was the big one, right? And he usually is in here. He's on the chair across from me, just sleeping, like whatever. But yesterday, he was all up in my face right when I started it. He smells really bad because I haven't bathed him in a while and I really need to bathe him. And then he was all up in my face and I had to start the meditation over because I couldn't breathe. Like, he stinks so bad. I need to bathe him. And so I kicked him out and then I restarted the meditation. And then he sat, 3 feet away from me and was licking himself really loudly. And that is a sound absolutely drives me insane. So I was sitting here trying to concentrate and deep dive into this meditation while he's like, and I'm like, oh, that's just the nastiest sound. And I kept trying to find something to throw at him in the middle of the meditation. And I finally found something and tried to discreetly chuck. It was a piece of foam. It wasn't anything painful and I probably missed anyway. And so I totally threw the little foam block at him in the middle of the meditation. So today's meditation is going to be much better, but I'm curious if you noticed that from yesterday's. And hopefully you didn't. Sometimes the behind the scenes is chaotic, especially with me. Chaos seems to be the undertow of my life. So that is why meditation is so great. It's because we get to practice the opposite of chaos, which is peace. So here we go. We're going to take some collective deep breaths. Let's take 3 big deep breaths. And blow out. And really fill your whole body with your breath. And do one more. This deep breathing really helps to slow our heart rates, calm us down, and it really helps us to be mindful and present. Today for our meditation, we're just going to think deeply about some of the things that we've been talking about this week. How are you feeling in your heart right now, especially compared to the beginning of the week? Have you had insights that have brought you peace? Have you had insights that have helped your heart open and expand and your jaw to unclench a little? Have you felt that spirit of joy and calm that has been present throughout these workshops? No matter where we are at, we all have things that we need to improve on. Growth is a beautiful, beautiful thing. Progression is divine. How can we continue to progress towards joy, towards peace and hope? To continue to bring those into our lives on a more steady basis. I want you to think about why you came to this workshop. What drew you in? Have you been feeling burnt out? Have you been feeling out of control in your life? Have you been feeling lost in motherhood? Like that person that you really, really are somehow stopped mattering in your life because other people's needs seem to always come first. You came to this workshop because you don't want to feel like that anymore. And now is the time to change that. You can feel this joy, this peace all the time without a babysitter. You can find yourself again and still be there for your kids. You can live your passions and your dreams and still be an incredible mother. And I know how hard it is to think that that means that you have to do more. You don't. You actually get to do less. You get to do more of what matters and less of what doesn't matter. Go back to your happy place that we talked about a few days ago. That place where everything is calm and peaceful. That's a feeling you can have all the time if you choose. It just takes a little practice. Your story has been a wild one, but it is worth telling, and it is beautiful, even in its ups and downs. And when you can look at your journey from a further back kind of perspective, you can see all the sunshine. You can see how you were led every step of the way, including being led here today. Because you were meant to feel joy. You were meant to be happy. And what you want does matter. Take another few deep breaths. And you can start to open your eyes. Today is a really beautiful topic that we're going to talk about, and I have some really beautiful examples to tell you. So today we're talking about enduring in sunshine, and what does that mean, and how do we wrap that up into our daily lives? How do we find that sunshine? How do we find those little ways to be grateful when everything seems to be crashing down around us? So the first part of this is gratitude. Oh, and don't forget, the workbook is, I put the link in the notes for the live, and I also posted it yesterday. So the workbook is available. It's up for you. I would love it if you printed it out and followed along and wrote down the answers to these questions. It's a really beautiful way to help you really internalize these messages. So the first step of enduring in sunshine is the gratitude. It's the positivity. It's the how do you find those little sparkles of sunshine throughout your day, no matter what's going on. I told you about my podcast, and I have the opportunity to interview people every day, sometimes many in a day, and we talk about where the sunshine was in some really, really difficult problems. And I promise you it's always there. And if you can't see it, just knowing that eventually you'll be able to see it is a really beautiful take on it. It's stepping back and looking at the big picture can really help you as you try to find gratitude in your daily life. So I have a story for you. And it's a really powerful story. And I don't think I've shared it with you guys yet. I've shared it with an awful lot of people because it really is it's one of the most amazing stories that I have to tell. And that is 4 years ago, in the fall of 2018. My husband and I were both full-time students in college, and we had 3 kids. At the time, 2 had autism diagnoses, and the youngest was 4, so he had not been diagnosed yet. And so they were 4, 7, and 8. And all 3 of them went to different schools. My husband and I were both full-time in college, and we had just moved to the area weeks. Well, okay, we moved in August, and I guess this event really happened in October. So October hits, and I have a severely autistic, nonverbal 7-year-old Joshua. And he was completely and utterly nonverbal in every way. He couldn't write, he couldn't type, he couldn't do any sign language. He was, and as far as speech went, he didn't even have that meant something. He was completely nonverbal, and we had been doing 4 hours a day of intensive therapy on top of school for years and years and years and seen no improvement. And we spent years praying and praying and praying as a family that Joshua would be able to talk. And then right before this whole thing went down, I actually went on Facebook and I did a live, and I said, I give up. I said, I have to give up hope that he's going to talk one day, because my mama heart cannot bear it any longer. I can't keep hoping for this. I have to just accept him where he's at, because I can't take this anymore. You know? I can't keep hoping for this. And I gave up. And really not long after that, I'm not sure the exact timeline of that, but it was really, really, really soon after that. October hit, and it was the first weekend of October, and everybody had been fine. Nothing was out of the ordinary until suddenly Saturday morning, Joshua woke up, and he looked like death. He looked like a skeleton. He looked like he had suddenly, rapidly, overnight, lost a ton of weight. And the immediate comparison that came to my mind was images that I've seen of people who were in Auschwitz. His eyes were all sunken in and big, huge black circles under his eyes. You could see every rib. He came out in his underwear, so you could see he had this huge thigh gap, and his legs were so skinny, and he just, and I was kicking myself, right? I was like, how have I not noticed this? There's no way that this happened overnight. It probably did happen overnight, but there's no way that this happened overnight. How did I not see this before? He looked absolutely dreadful. And my mama brain, went on high alert, like something's wrong, this is not okay. But I let my logical brain take over and say, he'll be okay. He's just sick. He's not doing anything that really warrants an ER trip. My kid who bounced off the walls all the time came and laid on the floor and curled up in a ball. He was sick, right? He puked a little bit, but it wasn't like there didn't seem to be any emergent need to like go to the ER, right? And of course I knew nothing at the time. I had no idea what was coming. So we got through the weekend like that, with him just sick, and it was just heartbreaking to see him. And then Monday I was like, no, enough is enough. And I took him to the pediatrician, and they barely looked at him. I had to carry him into the office. My 7-year-old who bounced off the walls. I had to carry him in to the pediatrician's office, and I'm going, this is not normal. I've got 3 kids. We've been through every illness under the sun. Like, this is not normal. And she barely looked at him, and she was like, oh, well, I guess we could do some blood work, but it's really hard to do blood work on a kid with autism. And so they did nothing. And like I said, my husband and I were both full-time in college. And so a few days later, 2 days later, Wednesday, I was in class, and my husband was staying home with Joshua because he was still really, really sick. And he sent me a picture of our son. To this day, my husband cannot look at that picture without sobbing. He literally looked inches from death. His skin was gray. His eyes were like half open. He was laying in a bed, which he never would do. He will not sleep in a bed. He was laying in bed, and at that moment I was like, no, I'm done. I'm done sitting here watching my kid die and doing nothing about it. Like, there is something wrong. And so that day I took him to the ER, and they knew immediately. They took one look at him, and they said, we are checking his blood sugar right now. This looks like type 1 diabetes. And I was like, diabetes? He's 7. He's underweight. Like, what? I had no idea what type 1 diabetes was. But my son was indeed in diabetic ketoacidosis. He was in the hospital for 3 days, and I spent that whole 3 days in shock, just going, oh my gosh, you don't understand. He's going to break the hospital. He's going to just like come back to his normal self, and he's going to tear this place down. Like, you don't know who this kid is. And we made it through, right? He was in the hospital for 3 days. He got put on insulin. He finally woke back up. He basically slept for 3 days. And he went back to school on Monday. And he had been potty trained for pee since he was about 3. But we could not get him poop potty trained because he wouldn't eat. He was very underweight for a really long time. Like, we even had his doctor like put him on meds to help him gain weight. And then he had an allergic reaction to it. He wouldn't eat. So he was very irregular. His first day back, the next Monday, he went back to school and pooped in the potty for the first time in his life. Within a month, my completely nonverbal kid could say all of his colors. And his speech increased so rapidly over the coming months that it astounded all of us. He almost died from type 1 diabetes, and then all of a sudden, he found his voice. And now, my personal thought of that is like he was diagnosed, and then all of a sudden he was starving all the time, so he would only eat corn dogs, but he was eating like 9 of them a day. So my personal thought is that it was like, had something to do with his digestion, and now that he was like getting stuff rolling down there that helped his speech. But like, it was a miracle. And here we are 4 years later, and he never shuts up. Ever. Like, that's one of my biggest stressors in my life, is that every moment Joshua is home, he is in my face yelling at me and telling me things over and over and over again. Like, that's one of my biggest stressors in my life right now, is that, like, there is no peace because Josh is just in my face all the time. And because of what we went through with him being totally nonverbal and praying and praying and praying for it, I have the opportunity to look at his, very, very frustrating, annoying habits now and be grateful for them. Because I know how hard we prayed for this. And don't get me wrong, like, he has childhood apraxia of speech, so he can be really hard to understand sometimes. And he's not really, like, communicating. He's really just telling you one thing, and, like, he perseverates on the same thing. But, like, he has a voice that he never had before, and it's absolutely miraculous. And so I use that story as an example for gratitude, because you just never know when you're gonna miss and what you have, and when something really incredible is gonna happen that's gonna I don't know, later. There's this thing I always say, that there's a trial in every blessing and a blessing in every trial, and that is, like, so true for this. One of the things I love to say about, like, gratitude and seeking sunshine is that even when you are completely surrounded by dark clouds, you can only see them because there is light coming from somewhere. Always look for the light. So in the workbook, the first question is, what sunshine can you find in the trials you have faced? In my story with Joshua, wow, there's a lot of sunshine. We were really, blessed that we were able to get him to the hospital on time, and, like, just the whole thing, even though it was one of the most stressful moments of my entire life, it all turned out, like, not just for our good, but, like, so much good. So much good came from that. And I am able to use that, knowledge now and look at the things I'm going through and say, maybe I don't see the sunshine yet, but who knows what's going to happen because of this event. Like, it allows me so much to step back and see the bigger picture. So I have a couple of great quotes. I don't have to chase extraordinary moments. Sorry, this is Brene Brown, who I freaking love, and it's in the workbook if you'd like to read along. I don't have to chase extraordinary moments to find happiness. It's right in front of me if I'm paying attention and practicing gratitude. That's what it comes down to. When we talk about gratitude, it's not just like a moment by moment. It's not like do it today and then maybe next week do it again. It becomes, the reason it's a practice is it becomes a habit in our thoughts. How can we find sunshine? How can we find gratitude? And for me, the sunshine is God, is finding God's hand in my life, seeing how I've been led from place to place to place. And that changing your mindset to one of gratitude, where it's constantly on your mind. How can I find a way to be grateful in this moment, even when everything's crashing down around me? That alone will change your life. It really, really will. Gratitude for the present moment and the fullness of life now is the true prosperity. That's from Eckhart Tolle. It's like, that's it. That's the thing. So Leticia says, I developed a desire for healthy behaviors as a result of, childhood trauma and dysfunction. That's my sunshine. Oh, generational trauma and like changing the patterns of the past, like that is not for the faint of heart. It's such a struggle, and it is really, really beautiful. It's really beautiful that you have the power to do that, and that you're actively trying to do that. Like that is sunshine. You're exactly right. It's amazing. And so my last question for this section in the workbook is, how can a gratitude practice be part of your self-care? I feel like this is not something that most people really put with self-care, but to me it's absolutely essential. You've got to be grateful for yourself, for the things, like that's part of what we talked about on day one with with learning your self-worth and seeing that was like self-appreciation. That's gratitude, right? Like I appreciate my hands, I appreciate my arms and all that they've been able to do and care for my kids. I appreciate my body. I have gratitude for my body because it's been able to carry these kids. It's been able to endure so much hardship and keep going, right? So that's a question that I really invite you to think about. Is how can gratitude for what you already have really be part of your self-care, because it's essential, and really and genuinely it will change your mindset, and it will invite you to be happier all the time. Every time you practice gratitude, you will become happier. That's why it's part of self-care. So the second part we're going to talk about is your journey, the story of you and your life, which is, whoa, can I just tell you, this is one of my favorite components. This is one of my favorite things to talk about, because the way that you look at the things happening to you now will dictate how you react to them. Hi, Alicia. Yeah, gratitude's essential. So if you can look at your journey from this big perspective, if you can look at it like, when we read stories, when we hear epic adventures, right? There's always trials. There's always things that go wrong. And if they didn't have things that went wrong, it wouldn't be a very exciting story, would it? And so when we have our own lives, we can look back on it and be like, how am I going to be able to tell this as a fun story later? So it's all about perspective, right? And so I actually have another story from my life about this that was like wild. So this happened last September, and I did do a podcast episode on it because it was a story, right? Stories are always there. People love stories. I love stories. I love hearing stories. I love telling stories. Like, stories help us in so many ways. So I have this really great story from last September. And if you want more details, you can go listen to the podcast episode, because I'm going to make it really short because I've got a lot to get through. So last September I had driven about an hour away while my kids were in school to go help a friend with a service project, actually. And then on my way back, I was running a little bit late. Because I had decided to join my friend for lunch, and then it was like, blah. So I was running a little bit late because I had to go pick up my husband and then pick up my 3 kids at their 3 different schools so that we could do this whole pickup routine, which is really kind of complicated. And as I was on my way back, there was a car accident that like had traffic at a dead stop. And I was like, what the heck? And I was so mad, and I was slowed down. Like, I was so frustrated by it that I actually got in the carpool lane, even though I was by myself for a couple miles. Don't tell anyone, that's a little bit illegal, right? So I drove in the carpool lane, and I finally got around this accident, and I was on my way, and I was just barely gonna make it on time. And just a couple miles past this car accident, I think I was in one of the faster lanes, and just as it was just one of those things that I couldn't see it till it was too late. There was a big piece of wire in the road, like wire that was probably 1/4 of an inch thick, maybe more, maybe 1/2 an inch thick, big white wiry thing, probably like 2 feet-ish, and it was in the road. And being that it was like a wire that was all kind of wound up in this ball, I couldn't see it until it was too late, and I hit it. Well, it punctured my gas tank, and I started leaking gas. And I was like 30 minutes away from home. And we had just sold our second vehicle like 2 weeks before that. And I'm driving in my van, and I can smell gasoline, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna die. Like, this is gonna blow up. This is gonna be so bad, right? Like, you imagine like all those movies, right? Where it's like as soon as the gas leak starts happening, everyone jumps out of the car, and then it explodes like 2 seconds later. So that's what I'm picturing in my head as I'm driving down the road. I'm like, but at the same time, I was like praying, like really like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And the impression I got was like, just keep going, just keep going, just keep going. And so even though maybe definitely the smart thing to do would have been to pull over, I made it I got off the freeway to where my husband works, and he's not far off the freeway from where he works. But as I got off the freeway, there was kind of a bump, and apparently I had been dragging that piece of metal the whole time. And when there was a little bump that like you never would have noticed, unless your car was this far off the ground, right? Like it never was a thing. But then when I went over it, it like jammed that piece of metal further up into the gas tank, and instead of being a little drip, it was now gushing. And this was like a full tank of gas, like $70 worth of gas, like right at the peak of when it was the most expensive, right? And I like start panicking more, and I call my husband as I'm exiting the freeway, and I'm like, no, okay, this is bad. And he's like, what are you doing? Pull over now! Like, get out of that car! So I pulled over, I got out of the car, and I could see the gas just guzzling out of my car, and I like run like 20 feet away just in case. I like grabbed all my stuff that was important, which was really sad because I forgot my Cafe Rio leftovers, which ended up going bad. So my husband was able to get a ride over to me to come pick me up, and then we went back, and then as I was standing there waiting for him to get me, I was like, what am I supposed to do? My kids get out of school in like 10 minutes. I have 3 kids at 3 different schools all the way across town, and I have no car. This is our only car. What am I supposed to do? And I'm like panicking, and I'm sitting there like, okay, I don't know who to call. And so I like sat there and prayed, and I was like, okay, Heavenly Father, show me a name. I need a name. I need someone who can help me. I called like 3 different people, and then finally a name came to mind, and I called my friend. She let me borrow her car. She came and picked me up. She let us borrow her car for the whole afternoon. We were able to pick up all the kids a little bit late, but we picked them all up. And then we went right to the bank and we got a loan, and we were able to buy a car that afternoon, which then ended up having its own problems, but that's another story. But as I was going through that very, very stressful little adventure there, I kept thinking this is going to make a great story one day. And here we are. It's a great story. I didn't die. Somebody actually bought that car from us, patched up the tank, and turned around and resold it. So that was fun. But really, like, perspective is everything. It's what makes your story worth telling. So because I sat there through that whole thing going, I'm feeling, I prayed, right? I know in my heart I'm going to be okay. This is going to be all right. It's just another thing. It's like, this is going to be an amazing story. So I've got some great quotes in our workbook. It is good to have an end to journey toward, but it is the journey that matters in the end. So the end was like, we got a new car, right? And like that, it wasn't even new. It was actually like the same. It was also a 2006 van. It was also a very old van. It even had more miles. Anyways, the getting a new car part is like the tail end of that story. It's not even the good part, right? The good part is the story, right? The good part is I thought I was gonna die and then I didn't. The good part is like, you know, I prayed and I got inspiration. Like, there's so many good parts of that story, but the very tail end where we got a new car, that's not even like the part that really makes an impact. Okay, so like, think about your whole life. It's the journey that counts. I love this. So one of the questions is, in what positive ways has your journey made you who you are today? And I know that like all of us have trauma. Like, I am not exempt from that. All of us have trauma in our past. But all of those things have come together and built us into the strong, amazing people that we are. Right? So that's the question. In what positive ways? It's easy to see how our trauma has hurt us. It's easy to see how we still carry that around. And those are the questions that like therapists ask. And when we're working on limiting beliefs, like we talk about like, how did this happen? And how did you come to have all these limiting beliefs about yourself, and et cetera, et cetera. And we focus a lot on the getting to the other side of that. But how have those negative things, how have the traumas, how is our life roller coaster, right? How's our journey made us the strong, amazing people we are today? How has your trauma made you more generous and more compassionate? It's not a question I think that's asked very often, which is why I'm asking it, because I want you to think about the sunshine, right? This other quote's really amazing from Asha Tyson. Your journey has molded you for your greater good, and it was exactly what it needed to be. Don't think that you've lost time. There is no shortcutting to life. It took each and every situation you have encountered to get to now. And now is right on time. This one pierces my soul. You're exactly where you need to be right now. And this is for me as much as it is for you. We're exactly where we need to be right now. And where we are right now is amazing. And yeah, we still get to grow from this place, but where we're at is incredible. Every good story that we read and that we want to be a part of, they all have their ups and downs. They all have really hard things. But it's exciting when you don't know what's going to happen next. And personally, I hate not knowing what's going to happen next. I want to know the future. I want to know exactly how it's all going to unfold. But it's a heck of a lot more exciting. And it makes for a much better story when you just live it in faith and hope and trust. It's okay to not know the next step. It's okay to let it unfold, because that is exciting. All right. The last part of this, which is amazing, is to trust in miracles. And the top part of this I have is like miracles. What does I have? Miracles happen to those who believe in them. Do you believe in miracles? Because holy cow, I believe in miracles, and I hope that you can see that from the stories that I told you today. Joshua, even as he drives me insane with his constant nonstop talking, it is a miracle. It is a miracle that he is alive. It is a miracle that he can sit here and talk into my face for 4 hours nonstop. It's a miracle, right? My car story, it's a miracle that I didn't die. Actually, what's kind of funny is I was telling that story at Thanksgiving to my brother-in-law, and he was like, oh yeah, he was a cop for a really long time, and he's retired now, but he told us that cars are way more likely to explode from the gasoline leak thing if there's only a little bit of gas. It's actually the fumes that ignite, and if your tank is filled with gas, it's way less likely that it will explode. And so even as I told that story, and I was like, crap, I just lost $70 worth of gas. Like, there went my whole gas tank. I can look back and go, oh my gosh, what a miracle it was that $70 of gas saved my life. Like, I had no idea. I could not have predicted that. But that, when you look at everything through the lens of miracles, it is such a gratitude-filled way, and it brings the joy and it brings the positivity. Sometimes we don't see miracles as miracles until later, and that is absolutely true of both of my stories. Both of those are, as I look at them in hindsight, it's easy to see how they were miraculous for my life. So your stories, how can you look back at the stories in your life and see the miracles? And then the bigger question is, how can you look at what's happening now and see the potential for a miracle? It's there. I can almost just tell you, you are living in a miracle right now. And someday you'll be able to look back and see how what you are dealing with right now is actually miraculous and guiding you to where you're supposed to be. So, I was going to just define miracles really quick for anybody who struggles with that word. To me, miracles are things that can't be explained, at least in the moment. Perhaps in hindsight, like like my hunch is that Joshua eating is what helped him be able to talk. But there's no proof of that. There's no scientific evidence of that. That's my hunch when people ask me how that could possibly happen. But the real answer for me is that it's just a miracle. You know? How did I not die in a fiery car explosion when my gas tank was punctured? It was a miracle. Everything lined up so that I'd be okay that day. So that we'd get through it. Right? Sometimes miracles are trials. We talked about that with Josh. And then one of the things that we talk about, like, especially as we try to find miracles now in our lives, is we talk about, like, reality. But the reality is I'm stuck here in this life. The reality is that I don't have the skills. I don't have the talents. The reality is I don't have the money. The reality is I don't have this, and this. The reality is I can't. None of those things are actually reality. Reality is what you make it. Reality is what you choose. What reality are you choosing to believe in? Because I want to believe in the reality of abundance. I want to live in the reality of miracles happen to me every day. And everything is working in my favor, even when things initially seem like they are not, right? Trusting in miracles is about looking to the future with faith and knowing that God has a plan for you and that it's all going to work out for your good. And that is all about enduring in sunshine, living your life in gratitude as a constant mindset, right? So my next question and my last question on the workbook is, how have things worked out for your good? How can you look back on your life and see how it has led you to where you are today, to you being stronger and braver, more faithful, more compassionate, more giving? Sometimes big miracles happen one small miracle at a time. What miracles can you find in your day-to-day? What can you find around you? What can you see that is miraculous? It's a really, really incredible way to live your life. It really is. And I call it self-care because you're caring for your mind. You're caring for how much joy you get to have, and you're making it a reality. When you change your mindset and you see the positivity more often, and you can take anything negative that happens and you can see, yeah, it makes you more compassionate. When you can take the negative that comes your way and you can open your heart to the possibility that it could be for your good, that there could be something beautiful in it, it changes you as a human. Like, it changes your energy from the low vibe, depressed sadness to hopeful and peaceful and joyful. Like, it really is so amazing. And the reason I include that in self-care is because I've seen what a difference it has made in my life, to change the way that I look at the world and to look for those miracles and to look for the sunshine and to embrace that as like a daily habit of like something that I get to do every moment, every day. How do I take the things I'm struggling with and find beauty in it? And that's my challenge for you today. So our homework today is actually more of a recap of the whole week. I'm hoping that you will tell me about your experience this week, and I will post this in the group. Okay, I will post this. It will be up. Tell me about your experience this week with all of these different things we've talked about. What insights have you gained? Is there something that has really just like struck you right in the heart, that just opened something for you? What insights have you gained? What was your favorite part? Was there a particular thing that really stuck out to you that just really meant the most? And then what do you think could have been improved? I am totally human. I totally make mistakes. And I'm doing my best, just like the rest of us are, right? So tell me, what could have been improved? Because I want to do this again. I want to get this information to as many people as possible, right? I want to help people know their worth. I want to help you feel more grateful in your life and that joy and that peace that come from that kind of mindset. So that's the end of day 5, and I'm almost like sad that this is ending, and it's not really an ending, it's really a beginning, right? We're going to have all of this and more still in the group. I'm going to go live every week. I just got to figure out when, because my life's insane, but that's okay. We're going to have this kind of content constantly going on in this group, on the podcast. See how I want to give as much of this as I can. I've packed in absolutely as much into these 5 days as I can. And I hope that you learned and grew from it. I really, really do. And the next step then is, if you want to have one-on-one help, if you want me to talk to you one-on-one over Zoom, to be there with you as you face all of the trials that are coming your way, to help you reframe them, to help you see the miracles that are constantly happening to you. If you want me to be there every step of the way, I want to do that for you. This workshop has been amazing, and I love giving out this information and just like giving everything I can, but I can't do the one-on-one deep dive without the program. So the doors are open now. They opened yesterday for my 90-day one-on-one coaching program. And this, guys, this is my heart and soul. This is my heart and soul, because I want to hold you by the hand. I want to keep you accountable. Did you know that most people don't make any progress unless they are held accountable? Like, it's like the vast majority of people. Like, it's like a real thing. And I've actually experienced this. I am a very, very type A, go kind of person. And even I have struggled to make progress. Actually, I was stuck. I was actually totally, completely stuck. I didn't know where my life was going. I didn't know how to do any of the things I wanted to do. I had all these burning dreams and desires, and I didn't know how to even begin to start making them a reality. And then I stumbled onto a coach, and she changed my life. I got to do this program called Soul Sound Academy, and we talked about music, and I was able to learn how to write music in a way I've never written music before, and she changed my entire perspective, because I had a coach, and I had someone to be accountable to, and I learned more from her. I think like it changed my life more than my college degree did. Like, it was so life-changing. It was everything. And so that's why I'm offering you guys this opportunity. That's why I'm opening the doors and I'm opening up time in my really, really insane schedule, because I want to help you. I want to help you to expand your mind and be happy, because you deserve to be happy. So this one-on-one coaching program, it's 90 days. You get 12 1-hour one-on-one coaching sessions where we just talk about what is going on with you. What problems are you facing? How can we make a plan so that you have clarity, so that you know exactly what to do when things go wrong? When you feel burnt out, where are you going to turn? What are you going to do to help you get out of burnout? We're going to make you a plan. A get out of burnout plan, a get out of overwhelm plan that is specific to you, that has everything that you need in it, that's going to change your life. The kind of plan that you're going to use for literally the rest of your life. Because getting stressed out, getting overwhelmed, it doesn't just disappear. Like, we do all these proactive measures, and those are so important, right? To help us build this foundation where we don't live a life of overwhelm. But sometimes things pile up. Sometimes we forget, and it's easy to get back into that rut. But that's where coaching comes in. That's where I go, oh, wait a minute, I can see where you're falling back. let's get back on the horse. Let me hold your hand as you climb back up there and come back right to the happy, amazing, joyful person you are. Because you deserve to be that all the time. Being a mom does not mean that you have to be stuck. It doesn't. So you get 12 one-on-one, 1-hour coaching sessions with me. And then in between that, if you have any questions, if you have something that's going wrong, if you just need to vent, then you have a Voxer availability, which is like a walkie-talkie app if you're not familiar with it. Or we could do Facebook Messenger, whatever you want. I love Facebook Messenger. It's great. And you can just like hit record while your kids are screaming in the background and be like, I don't know what to do. I'm feeling so burnt out. I don't know what to drop. I don't know what to let go of. I don't know how I got in this position. I feel like I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do, and yet I'm not okay. Where do you go when you're not okay? How do you find a way to be okay again when you're not okay? I really hope that you can take everything from these last 5 days and turn it into your own plan, and that's enough to be okay. But for most people, we need accountability. We need an outside perspective to help us see our lives more clearly. Because when you are in the middle of it, I promise you, you cannot see it as clearly as you think you do. When your brain feels scrambled from everything that's going on, that's not when you're in your best place to make a plan to get out of that, right? You need someone with an outside perspective to help you see, to walk you through. And so in the one-on-one coaching program, we are going to take you from the burnt out, stressed out, out of control life that you feel stuck in. And you're not going to divorce your husband, and you're not going to leave your kids, and you're going to find a way. I'm going to help you. I'm going to show you the way to stay in your life without blowing it all up. Because I don't know if you've noticed this, but there's this pattern, right? Where we get really, we recognize that we're unhappy, and then we're like, okay, I'm just going to blow it all up. But you love your kids. And you love your husband. Even if sometimes you don't, right? You don't need to just blow up your life to be happy. You can find happiness now. You can find happiness in your life with your kids now. And I want to help you do that. So, we're going to take you on a clear, proven path from feeling burnt out and overwhelmed and out of control and just utter chaos. And by the end of 90 days, you are going to have a clear plan of exactly what to do every time that feeling comes back up. We're going to get you preventative measures so that you don't feel that way. It's never that bad again. Like, there might be little teeny spikes, but it's never like the big, huge, like, I'm just going to blow it up. Like, it just changes everything when you have those preventative measures. And then when stressful things still crop up, you're going to know exactly what to do. How do I get back to peace? We're going to take you from that most of the time you're feeling stuck and cranky and out of control. And then at the end of 90 days, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I've never been happier in my life. I want you to be happy. I want you to feel that way all the time. I want you to recognize that you are powerful beyond belief. That you can have control over your mind and over your perspective of your life. Like, maybe you don't have control over the things that are going on outside of you, but having control over yourself changes the way you see those things in a drastically incredible way, like a miraculous way. It really is absolutely life-changing. So that is my goal. That is my goal, is to help you do that. And I have this proven path, and I've done it time and time again, and I know that it works, and I know that I can help you. And if I can't, what we're going to do is we're going to hop on a clarity call, and we're going to talk about this, and we're going to talk about the things that you need. And if it's something that I don't think I can help you with, I will send you to somebody who I think can help you. And if I think that you are the perfect fit for this program, then I'll invite you to join it. Because I want you here with me. I want to lead you by the hand to joy. That's like all there is to it. So if this is something that you're interested in, please send me a DM. I want to get on this call with you and find out if this is the right path for you. I want to do that. So send me a DM. We'll see if this is the right fit for you. And I hope that you found this week really, really helpful. I hope that it has changed your perspective. And I hope that you will go back and watch all the videos and that you will go and do all the homework so that we can have some winners for a one-on-one session with me, because it's a big deal. Okay? It's like I know because I've been there. I know because I personally had a coaching session with my coach like 2 days ago. And like the clarity and the peace that brought to me was priceless. Like it really can change you. It can really, really help in a way that if you've never tried it before, it's kind of mind-blowing, actually. Like you sit there and you go like, I don't know how this, no, it really is like a thing. Okay, I'm going to shut up because I just keep rambling on, because that's one of the things that I do. I love to talk. That's why I'm here. I'm so glad that you enjoyed this week, Leticia, and I'll be back. Like, I'm not going to disappear. I'm here. Definitely send me a DM. I'm going to be live every week. I haven't decided exactly what time yet. I got to figure that out in my schedule about when I'll be live every week. And I would love for you guys to send me questions, like deeper questions about everything we talked about, so that I can dive deeper into those topics in our weekly lives. So go do the homework. I will post it. And I hope that you guys have an amazing day. And I hope that you can see the sunshine today. See the miracles that are happening all around you. Love you guys. Bye. Oh, thank you for joining us for this day 5 workshop. It's been absolutely a joy to share this information with you guys. It lights me up in a way that I just can't explain. This is so important to me that I can teach you guys how to increase your self-worth. I want you to know how incredible you are. I want you to know that you are worth it. You are worth investing in, whether that's time or money or energy. It doesn't matter. You are worth it. So that is my tail end of this workshop. I hope that you got so much out of it. And if you loved it, I hope you will share it with somebody else. The replays are available in the Facebook group, but they are also up here on the podcast for you to listen to whenever you feel like you need something uplifting. It's here for you. I want to make sure that you have this information at your fingertips, readily available all the time. So it's here, it's available. I hope that it brings you peace and joy, and it gives you some really, really solid tips, a really great foundation of how to increase your self-worth, how to increase your self-care, and do it in a way that's going to change your life. I hope you have an absolutely incredible day, and I'm going to leave you with a song.